he brought up the coddling of the American mind. He brought it up because he saw a documentary on it. I didn't know there was a documentary on it, and he went to go see it at the Beverly a theater in the New Beverly or some theater in Beverly Hills, and he sat next to John Cleese, and I was like, wow, that's
Did.
kind of cool. And they saw it was the Coddling of the American Mind documentary,
Oh,
and
nice.
he hadn't read the book, but he's definitely talking about that issue and how he has to remind his wife not to coddle their children, and it's
It's
really
hard. Yeah. Hey there, welcome back to Pod and Deliver. Ruben, this week I was looking at an article and I shared it with you. It's dated March 5th, 2024. It's through the Salt Lake Tribune, the Utah newspaper. And Governor Cox has been pressured to veto a law that's being written. Oh, it's being debated right now. So it's a bill. It's titled HB 119. And basically this bill says that teachers who have a firearm, right, a gun, has to get training, right? They have to meet all state standards regarding safety with weapons in a classroom. And if they're not going to have a gun on them, they have to put it in a lockbox, right? Where they can get to if they have a combination and so forth. But this has gotten a lot of
but
criticism.
can I
Go
ask you
ahead.
a question before you go on?
Yeah.
To clarify, it's not that they have to, right? Isn't
No,
it
no.
that
So,
they're
so you don't have to
allowed
have a gun.
to?
I'm sorry. It's those people who have guns. Now, it is allowed in the state of Utah, and actually, I just found this out. 15 other states that you can have a firearm on campus if you're a teacher.
That's important
It's
because
big, so
the
you
way
can
you
do that. Period.
the way you
That's already been done.
the way you phrased it was teachers have to have guns and have to be trained with
Oh,
firearms.
I'm glad you clarified it. Yeah,
They're
they don't
allowed
have.
to, and
Right. Thank you.
it'll be offered to them
Yeah.
this firearm training. Okay.
It'll be offered to them, this firearm training. I'm glad you did that because Kimberly says I don't communicate well. Maybe she's right. But anyway, yeah. So the firearm
I
training
won't
is
wait.
being
I won't weigh in on that point, but go on.
all right. So firearm training, if you want to bring in a gun, you don't have to have a gun. And actually, several teachers you can imagine don't want to do that, but there are some who are wanting to go to that training. So that's what's being debated. Should the state pay for the training? Right? It's all about finances, and should it's basically saying we're giving our stamp of approval. There's obviously several people who are not happy with this. People who are obviously against gun ownership or at least gun rights, and some saying, hey, you're just bringing in more risk if you allow these guns to be even, if we're giving the stamp of approval, that's, and then giving training, we're basically, backing this up when we do see around the country that there's these tragedies in classrooms when people, bring in guns and so forth. So yeah, there is definitely criticism. So this article has nothing to do with, hey, can there be guns? No, there are guns. You can bring a gun into a classroom if you're a teacher, but now it's about how do you work with that gun? How should you get training by the state and so forth? So I don't know, Ruben. I can't imagine having a gun in the class because I'm so, and you might disagree here, but I'm so absent-minded that I might just like leave it somewhere without, oh, where's my gun, guys? Have you seen my gun? I just don't think that's a smart move for me. I just don't think I could have a gun in the classroom, more because I am not, and it's taken me years to say this, I'm not responsible enough to put the gun away or put it where it should be. And so that's why I probably would never have a gun in class, more because I know who I am. I don't know, Ruben. I'm not sure if you feel the same way or what.
Well, if you don't, if you're the kind of person who will leave a gun around, then this definitely would not have. You definitely should not move to Utah or do that. But
Well, yeah.
uh, I guess my question then, I'm sure the viewer would want to know too, is so maybe that's your choice, but what are you saying about the policy? What's your opinion about the policy? I hope you don't say, well, if we're unified, if the teachers want it, I want it. I hope you give like a clear stand.
I don't want to fight with you today. No, I will say this. I'm taking a clear stand. If the lawmakers who are voted by the people are okay with this, and even if they weren't, I think I'd be fine. I'm fine with it. So I
You
think
are
I
in
under
favor of this
yeah,
bill?
they should get trained. Like if I was somebody who had a gun, and which I know I would never because of my, lack of responsibility of things like this. Um, I would want to get trained. I would want to know, I would definitely would probably have it in a box. 'Cause that's another thing they're saying. Hey, if you're not going to carry it with you, you need to put it in this box, lockbox. I'm sure there's another name for it, but it's, what it is. It's something that stores the gun and it's locked away. But yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about it? I just shared how I felt, but how do you feel about
Right.
that?
So before I give my opinion, I do want to mention that this is the kind of hot topic issue that really outrages people. Okay. And I don't think it's worth getting outraged about in the sense that Utah is passing this. And if Utah passes this, I can see Texas falling in line. I can see Tennessee and people getting upset about this.
Mhm.
Or let's say, because it's explosive, this topic. Guns in the classroom, teachers armed, right? But my response is, don't we live in two Americas anyway, right? Abortion is becoming less um, legal in certain states. Don't move to Alabama. I mean, I
Right,
know this is
right.
very flippant of me, but it's turning out this way anyway. 50% of the country is pro-Biden and other 50% hates him. And then if the other guy gets elected, 50% of the country is going to hate it, 50% is going to love it. We have two Americas anyway. If you don't like this bill, don't move to Utah. I'm sorry. This is
Yeah.
the reality of our country. We're not united anymore. We've had a conversation about this in the past that we're pretty divided at this point. Just stay where you're at. Live in California, live in New York. And by the way, it works the other way. California is passing laws I could see a lot of states have a lot of people moved out.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't want to move to California. This is the reality we're living in. No need to get outraged by this. I can see this passing. I can see it moving into other states. How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for the Second Amendment to protect yourself. Again, I'm like you. Will I walk around in a classroom with a gun? No, I will not. But if it's somebody wants that protection, if it feels safe, and I have to say, speaking as a teacher, I know there's teachers that watch us who won't agree with me, but I remember getting the last time getting trained. Police officers came to train us as teachers what happens when there's an active shooter on campus. So we had active shooter training, very chilling. There's a kind of like this somber mood the teachers are in. We're usually very chit-chatty when we're in these kind of, we see each other, we get happy, but we're just sort of staring and you can't help conclude by the end of this training that there really is nothing you can do when there's an active shooter on campus. You just have to pray they don't come to your room because when the police officer was explaining what happens when they come into your room, all you have all you can do is basically put something against the door. That's it. He was putting like a chair against the door, a chair against a gun.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of looking around. And I have to say, logically speaking, if I were sitting in my room and a kid is trying to get in with a gun, or not, I shouldn't say a kid, somebody trying to get in with a gun, I would feel more safe if somebody on the campus had a gun. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just speaking as somebody who agrees with you at some sense. I would not want to walk around in campus with a gun.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's my feeling.
I think you're right. I mean, at our school, they train us like, hey, if they're coming through, just throw things at them or whatever it takes to subdue the attacker, which I guess a stapler, I don't know, but it's going to be more difficult if the other person has a gun. I agree with you. But Ruben, this is go ahead.
I do want to throw, before you close out, I do want to throw an olive branch to the side of the people who are saying, how could you be in favor of arming teachers on campus? I will say this, I don't think that's the number one deterrence, by the way, of this problem. I don't think that's the issue to combat this problem. And before I say my opinion, why do you think there's these incidents? They are very rare. Chances are it won't happen to your campus, okay? But do you know why this has been occurring?
regarding
over the
attacks?
last
Oh,
25 years?
I think there's a couple of things. It's not just one reason. I think there's social media has played a part of you know, having it out there so these kids, you know, see, you know that they're
This
going to be
preceded this preceded
infamous.
so this preceded way preceded social media. So are you
Right.
sure it's social media?
Well, before social media, just media, just to get your name out there. You know, I think I'm just saying there's several reasons. That's just one reason. Another one is mental health. I think that's a big issue that is really hitting our country hard. And I know my students, I've seen a change in mental health with several students getting, having, you know, psychologists, so forth, working with them and therapists. So yeah, I think that's another one. But what are you
I,
alluding to? What are you
yeah,
thinking?
I will just say that whenever this issue comes up, um, you'll inevitably somebody will say the following. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do in this country? When are we going to make common sense laws against guns? They always say that. And then you have, somebody else chime in. This protects us, this protects us. But I'm going to just throw a different idea out, and it has nothing to do with guns for a moment. This is not talk about guns or gun laws. We already have 1,000 laws on the books. How is that working for you? Um, just stop publicizing these shootings. These people want fame. They want to become notorious. If the I could only, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could always just any chance I get to voice this. If the media announce we will no longer publicize these shootings, they will go away. They'll just go away overnight.
Yeah, I agree
I
with you.
don't.
I think that's what I was saying. The media, you know, if they stop doing that,
But
publicizing these knuckleheads.
being very specific, not, what do we mean by media, but literally not publicizing this. Like it's
Yeah.
against, let's go to the lawmakers. That's a law. I'm always against new laws. To me, it's like less freedom is new laws. But the one law I'll be in favor of, you're going to arrest a media outlet, presidents and newscasters if they make any announcements of these, and they will go away.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, thanks, Ruben. This is obviously going to be controversial for years to come because, like you said, if it's happening in these states, other states are probably going to jump on, especially the red states, right? But thank you for coming on with us on this Pod and Deliver episode. We will see you soon. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for doing that, those of you who have, and we will continue to see you in the near future. Thank you. Bye-bye.